Hey, today I wanna talk about a film called Strange Days. This is a film directed by Catherine Bigelow, who is the director of Hurt Locker and the only woman director who has ever won an Oscar. And the film, its story and screenplay is actually written by James Cameron with other people also involved, but not Catherine Bigelow. So it's essentially a James Cameron film or James Cameron production. So basically, that's what one of the things that interested me about in this film, because I have seen almost James Cameron's every film, and now I want to see his other contribution. But besides than that, this film also came up to my radar as a cyberpunk film or as a neo noir film. Now, on that note, I wouldn't necessarily label it as a cyberpunk film, even though a lot of films is labeling a lot of things are labeling it as a cyberpunk film, or websites are calling it a cyberpunk film, or even giving it good reviews. But there are cyberpunk elements, but it was actually released in 1995, and it tells the story of the year 1999 going on 2000. So it was right around the Y2K and Y2K panic. So I wouldn't call that a cyberpunk for that reason, because they did not lean into that stuff very much, but the atmosphere actually kind of works, and the things that it goes about, they use this cyberpunk thing as a trope and not as a full-blown genre. So in that regard, I do not consider it as a cyberpunk film. And this film stars Ray Fiennes, Juliette Lewis, and Angela Bassett, among other people. And this film also involves Vincent D'Onofrio as the villain, and I think he was really good in this film. Now, if you want to talk about the plot, it's actually a model plot, but it's actually a murder about who done it. Ray Fiennes is a character who's trying to warn his ex-girlfriend about something that bad that's going to happen, and through that it actually triggers around. I think a lot of people is going to bring a parallel between the game Cyberpunk 2017 and this film. But regardless, I think this film is a very good film, and I like this film. Even though initially when people saw it, it did not have a good review, and I think it's also still on somewhere that it actually tanked Catherine Bigelow's career, and she had to work a lot harder to revive her. So you can obviously see, but through time, I think people have found this film to be more nuanced and I guess appreciated. And funny thing is, I saw this film in 2021, and it is absolutely relevant in this time, because this film not only have love triangles and sci-fi elements and sexual violence and politics, but this film for a large portion deals with a lot of racial inequality in America, and I think that is a very different tone to set, because from a sci-fi film or a cyberpunk film, you do not overtly express this kind of tones, but this film goes for it. So I guess that kind of works. Uh, and from a mystery standpoint, I think this film is also nice, and I like it. And besides than that, I think this film actually succeeds in a quite of lot of ways, such as the tone, the score is kind of nice, and besides than that, I liked Ray Fiennes a lot. I think he was a sort of a complex leading man that you want in this kind of film, and I think he works. But Vincent D'Onofrio, his villain is nice. His villain is actually quite nice. And besides than that, I think this film actually is worth your time. And if you have 2.5 hours, I think it is worth that time, even though it might not be a cyberpunk film. So keep your expectations in check. So I think you can watch it if you want a film that is a sci-fi with a lot of politics and racial inequality and stuff like that. And I think it all hits all of these major points quite nice. I would give this film 3.5 out of 5.